Hey, they did it again. I can't believe this. 2 days. So I guess it was night before last, night by my Pacific Standard uh, time. But anyway, that we did Money. They just released Martirio live at Teatro Metropolitan CDMX, August 29th, 2022. The Warning. I am so blown away. This is going to be amazing. It just came out. I haven't watched any of it yet. I'm just got it loaded up and I dragged it around until I found a screen that looked good to start with. And we're going to watch this together. We're going to react. We're going to discuss it. And here we go. The Warning, Martirio, live, pro shot, pro recorded.
A veces las cosas obvias son las más difíciles de ver. Te asfixiaste con tus propias manos. Cuando todo apunta que por fin alguien te viene a rescatar, te encuentras nuevamente abandonado. En tu martirio es tu destino, entrégate.
Okay, sorry. I need to wipe my eyes again. Hold on. Fast food napkins, not the best for the eyes. That just got me a little emotional that time. That got me a little emotional, I have to say. It's partly the filming tactic that they used, the technique, I mean, that they used. Tactic. Feels like it to me. That hand cam, very, following them around in your face kind of technique they were using for this one just really got to me somehow. Just the song's very emotional anyway. I love the meaning behind the song. It's always gotten to me when I've waded through translations and tried to make the most of them together and to get the meaning of the song. I've finally come to the conclusion that it touches me and means a lot to me. I completely concur with the lyrics, the songwriting, with the women here, their meaning. I agree 100% with what they're trying to say, I think, and or what they are saying, but what's being translated to English in that attempt. So yeah, for old white Vancouver dude, it's kind of like it's a totally different culture, but the same stuff happens with the same people, and yeah, the motivations behind this song are beautiful and deep, and I wish I could have said it as well myself, but they did it. But what a great job, man! Oh man, the filming during the guitar solo is awesome because if you've seen the music video from Arterio, the filming of the guitar solo there was very dramatic with fire going in a ring around her, and her outfit and the motions that she was trying to visually get across as she's playing were great. It's a legendary music video. You can't do that on the stage. They'd set fire to the theater. So what are they going to do? They have to try to get that energy live and capture it on video. And getting it live, for those who've been to big, successful concerts of bands that make you kind of emotionally involved, as clearly The Warning does for me, it gets you, and it'll bring you to tears if it's the right song in the right situation and you're with the right people, starting the show, ending the show, whatever, right? Those emotional moments. But that's generally lost on video. Even a fantastic live concert is generally not as emotionally involving as the real thing, or even sometimes as emotionally involving as a well-produced music video, which is, we know, if it's done by like brilliant Hollywood producer type directors, that level of production, I mean, can be really deep and really tug at your heartstrings. And we've seen a couple of those by The Warning, and of course many other legendary bands. But to do this with a live show, the quality of the video, that the filming and the production choices and the post editing that we were just watching, and some of that's done in post the effects that we were just watching that I was talking about, but the quality and choices and again, the editing is a huge part of this, as well as the directing and production. Visually, I'm just talking visually right now, are at a similar quality to that legendary concert video of the Rolling Stones done by, who was it? It was a really, really famous movie director. Can't think of his name right now, but like someone like Scorsese, like someone that level, right? It's just someone like that did this incredible one. It wasn't him, but you know what I'm saying, right? Maybe not quite that level, but certainly huge. What we were just watching there, that dragged me into the song and got me really emotional. And I don't even speak Spanish, and I don't understand Spanish. I'm working on it, but it's going to be a long time, right? So, I mean, English is tough enough, right? And it's the only language I know, kind of. So, other than music. So for the fact that it tugged me in that well, because it's such a beautiful and powerful song too, but also because I've translated and studied the lyrics myself quite a bit and gotten the best translations I've seen out there in the internet, it just really hit me. And It's kind of embarrassing, but it isn't at the same time. I'm proud to say that The Warning made me emotional there. So let's do what I did most recently, and we'll watch it together again. But I'll
A
stop
veces
it for
las
time.
cosas obvias son las más difíciles.
First of all, and I didn't comment on this so much in the last video, and I should have, because in Money they had pictures of Money and the lighting was green and it was amazing, and I watched it and I took it in, but I just completely forgot to talk about the visuals. The visuals are amazing. Here we have visuals that are taken from the scenery. If you look at the top screen, I'm pointing at my monitor, that's really good. If you look at the top, way up there, way up at the top there, the top three on the screen are place those with the middle one, and then it's flipped upside down for the bottom one, it looks like. So about halfway through the middle of the three horizontal slats and vertical slats, and then the top one are filming of the scenery from, I think, where they filmed the video. It's beautiful and atmospheric, and I love how they mirror imaged it at the bottom half. Same with the screens on the bottom, they mirror imaged it. Maybe it's a good way to make more use of the vertical space, but it's also just really effective because it's giving you an otherworldly sort of appearance while still being recognizable, subtly recognizable. I'm trying to think of another word. You get the idea. It'll come to me later. Is it just me? Has anyone else noticed how Ale is right in the middle of the three screens and Danny's at the edge of the middle screen? I've seen that in all the videos. It's just where they place the microphones. But it's funny that they did that because, it's a perfectionism thing. But at the same time, it works in a way to draw the attention towards Danny. Why? Because she's standing mostly 60% in front of a black background rather than in front of a bright screen. And with the spotlight on her, it happens to make a very good visual that way, and you can really see her. You can really see Ale as well, but maybe I'm overthinking this, but it happens to work well. I'm certain that the people, at least in the post-editing visually, noticed and took advantage of their hair color and their general appearance. Danny is light-skinned and has had blonde hair pretty much most of the time for several years now. Ale has slightly darker skin and a very striking visual appearance, very dramatic visual appearance, with her brunette hair. So it just happens to work really well that she's a little more in the shadows, but she's in front of a bright screen, and it makes her more dramatic visually, and it makes Danny more dramatic visually, whereas her hair would actually quite disappear in front of that screen. So there may have been intention behind this. Whether or not it was, or if it was a happy accident, as we've heard them say, it worked out really, really well. Let's continue.
Cuando todo apunta que por fin alguien te viene a rescatar, te encuentras nuevamente abandonado.
And as you can see, it depends on the angle of the camera. But here, when she's close up, you can see the details, whereas far away, all we would see is this blonde blur in front of her. So it happens to work very well. Blonde blur with a purple guitar. So that's the filming I'm talking about right here. Now, that could have been done intentionally. It could have been done from cell video that someone was taking, or handheld video that someone was taking, and then they turned it in and submitted it and said, let's use this as well in the concert footage for this song. It could have been done entirely in post. The shaky handheld cam effect with a apparent slight oversaturation of color and an apparent lower number of megapixels. Megapixels. It could have been done entirely in post. All those things are available in the nice video editing software that you can get either through additional filters or sometimes the built-in filters, depending on which app you use. But I have a feeling that's an actual cam footage someone submitted and used. I mean, for all we know, that's like Rudy on the balcony. But you notice how it also slowly zoomed out? Zooming out, zooming out, zooming out, zooming out. But you see the handheld cameras around it? That's somebody's cell phone. So maybe someone just had really good footage and said, maybe they asked people, like, do you have good footage? Or it's someone that was in their team who's out there standing taking footage. Who knows? Maybe it's mom, right? But whoever it was who did it, it's really effective. And as I said, that's part of what got me, because it feels more like you're there. I love this incredible ProShot video, but I love the fact that it takes you into a real, like, in person. I'm in the crowd. I'm experiencing this, and I'm looking around. I'm shaking a little bit because it's hard to see, and I'm standing on my toes because I'm only 5'7", and I'm just really involved in the music. Here I go again. So I noticed Pau was really emotionally involved in this song when she was playing, smiling, having a great time, and I think it really affected her. I'll have to check the hold on. Let me check the no, wrong monitor. Let me check for a second. Hold on. The set list. Set list. I'm looking at my other screen. You guys don't need to see all my personal emails. Set list. And I'm typing with one hand. Hold on. Warning. August 29th, 2022. Okay. Put my eyeballs back on. So where in the set list is Martyrio? Yeah, so where in the set list is Martyrio? Oh, it's an encore. Holy crap. That's awesome. This is the first encore of 2. Holy cow. Well, no wonder she's emotionally involved. They've already done their bows and stuff. Oh, this is intense. No wonder. That totally makes sense. Oh, wow. This is so exciting for me. Obviously. Cool. Let's go back there. I'll cry more and then we'll watch more. I'm sorry, I'm going to stop it all the time, but we watched it together already. So, sniff, sniff. So, Pau's drum part in this is so inventive. It's outside the box of hard rock. I don't believe I've ever heard anyone do this particular beat in a song of this genre that's relatively mainstream with in a power trio type situation. This particular beat, I mean, it's a beat. It's a great beat. She mixes it up with some really clever use of the hi-hat. That's subtle. Hitting on one. I think she's hitting on one with her left foot, not with her hand. But I'd like to watch her play it a little more to see, because I mean, she could be hitting it with her left hand. She's a way better drummer than I am, but it has the sound to me of someone who's tapping your left foot. So with a hi-hat, the hi-hat on a drum, that's the cymbal to the left of the snare drum, the one that you're always hitting for basic rock time, like AC/DC, every single song. And you keep your left foot on the hi-hat pedal. The hi-hat stand has a pedal at the bottom that pulls the top of the two cymbals down into the other cymbal. There's one cymbal upside down, like this, and another cymbal on top that's like this, They're just like two normal cymbals, but they're suspended differently. The bottom one sits up, open face upwards, and the other one hangs downwards, concave. So they're like a sandwich that comes together with an air gap in the middle, even when they're closed. But the outside rims match up and press together. And it's on the system is on a very strong spring that keeps it open, keeps the top one suspended upwards. And as you press down on the pedal, it mechanically is pulling down that shaft that pulls down the suspension holding the top cymbal until it's pressing into the bottom cymbal. And it gives you a lot of artistic control. It allows you to hold it closed with fairly firm, not really hard, but fairly firm left foot, just holding it steady. So when you hit it, it's just a very short tss, tss, tss sound. If you really squeeze it and you hit it, it's more like tink, 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 right? I could give you examples, but I won't bother right now. I was thinking of Keep 'Em Separated. It's a grunge song by what are they called? Gotta keep 'em separated. Down, 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 down. Gotta keep 'em separated. I can't remember. Oh, The Offspring. The Offspring does that. So in the intro to The Offspring, it sounds to me, I've never watched the video, but I've heard the song tons. It sounds to me like he's really squeezing hard on the hi-hat stand while he's hitting it. And it's a very mechanical, metal, sort of brief, tinny sound. I could be wrong. He could be using an entirely different thing he's hitting. But it sounds like that is a similar sound that you get by really squeezing the hi-hat. You don't normally do that when you're playing it for music. And if you open it wide and you hit it, it's just like ching, 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 like a cymbal that has a sort of a weird attack to it, a chingy attack, but it just rings normally otherwise. Depending on how hard, where you have it set to be wide open, you can adjust how high it's going to be, how far apart they're going to be when you let go of the pedal. It could be quite close, it could be quite far up. Depends on the drummer and what they want to do. I can't say he anymore because we're talking about some of the world's greatest musicians these days that are women, not men, which is wonderful. I mean, they always were every bit as good, if not better, but it's becoming more commonplace now, which is fantastic. So the other thing you can do, as you can hold it pretty close together, but a little open, and then when you hit it, it's like tss, 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 which is a classic sound you hear in a lot of rock music. Right? And you can change your left foot as you're playing, makes it really musical. Having it slightly open when you hit the snare and closed when you hit the kick is a classic, very subtle difference that AC/DC does a lot. It's not that extreme, but I'm exaggerating it to show what happens. But it's something that Phil Rudd from AC/DC has done in many of their biggest songs, especially in the Back in Black and For Those About to Rock era. And the other thing you can do, besides adjusting it and then hitting it, is you can completely play it just with your left foot without touching with your drumsticks or hands at all. If you have it open and you press your foot down hard, fairly hard, it'll go chink, chink, ding, chink, ding, chink. And that's what you hear in jazz drummers. They're going ding, 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 ding with the right hand on the ride cymbal, ding, 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 and their left hand they can use for shots to match up with the shots with the trumpets and brass, or they could just do like a cool fills and some of this with their left hand. And they also do shots with matching up with their right foot, but their left foot's busy going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, close, 3, close, 1, please, 3, close, please, close, John Cleese. And so she could be doing left foot, and then let it go open, and then hitting it with her hands as it's closed when she comes around to it. So if you go press it with your left foot and hold it close, it goes tink. If you press it with your left foot and immediately open it, it goes tss. It's called like a wash, and it's a really if you have good left foot technique on a hi-hat, you can do amazing things with it. So all that long rambling, I'm just so excited. All that long rambling could be what she's doing here about the left foot thing on this. I'll watch and see. It's probably not. It's probably just her amazing handwork, 'cause she's got very, very good arm work as well.
Buscar explicación en lo profundo de tu ser y vuelves a caer en el vacío.
I think she's using her
Al fin
hands,
te
actually.
das cuenta en secreto.
I think she's actually using her hands. But she is controlling the open and close mount. She's got it slightly open, so it rings, and she opens it more on the second beat. 2, 3, 4. So it's like, right? So she hits it. It's like, and then she comes back around. So she's holding it down more firmly for that. And then also leading up to beat 1, she's doing that Stuart Copeland thing. It's not Stuart Copeland's thing, but it's something he certainly used a lot and made quite famous. The drummer for the Police, one of the world's absolute greatest, and needs to be respected these days more than he gets attention for. Left, right, left, right. Or right, left, right, left, right. 16ths. So either triplet 16 or 16ths. Triplet eighths or 16ths. So the first time she did that, she went, I think it was triplet. Let's listen to it again.
Buscar explicación en lo profundo. Buscar explicación en lo profundo de tu ser y vuelves a caer en el vacío.
Changing it up a
Al
lot.
fin te das cuenta en secreto que el dolor se quedará. Será tu nueva vida de martirio. Ya no hay vuelta atrás, no puedes escapar.
Oh, Danny, it's awesome. You can actually see on that scene of Pow, you can see the hi-hat slightly open. See, you can actually see it there. So that's the symbol I'm talking about, is just to her left, the lower of the 3 symbols that you can see there. And it's got on top it looks just like a normal symbol. On the bottom it's got the same symbol, might be a different weight, but it's basically the same size of symbol and a similar shape, pointing upwards. And you can see on the right side of it, there's a little bit of a gap, a few millimeters, half centimeter, something like that. And that's how she's getting that sustain. Okay, gotta talk about the bass playing here. So as a professional musician myself, and I play bass professionally as well as other instruments, I am a very technical kind of bassist and a pretty busy bassist. I like busy in my playing style. I do a lot of fills and stuff like this. I have very little self-restraint, but if someone's paying me, I'll do exactly what they tell me to do. But when I'm playing for my own enjoyment in my own bands, I'm pretty extreme. It's fun for me to do that. Why not, right? It's my own music. So when I'm listening to Ale, all her life, and I mean that quite literally, she has done something on bass that most of us don't do. There's no reason not to, but most of us don't do in typical music, in typical bass playing. And ironically enough, there's another bassist who's quite legendary who does this more than many other people do. His name is Sting. He also played in the Police. If you listen to the Synchronicity album, particularly like songs like Oh My God, which is a fantastic song, by the way, and it's relatively short and it was a big hit in the 80s. Incredible song, actually. The bass playing in that, he's playing a fretless bass on that, and he slides around as he shifts position. It's part of his sound. He holds down the finger of the note he was just playing and slides up to the next position and then changes to the next note. So you go like stuff like that going on. And She doesn't play fretless, but she has ever since she, okay, let's talk more about the bass. Let's get techie on the bass. So the first album by The Warning, 21st Century Blood. Why am I putting the mic down? 21st Century Blood. She was quite young, and she was playing it through quarter size approximately. Anyway, shorter scale bass, Fender Mustang, I believe, for the most part, and which is a fantastic instrument. They're great basses. It had a very pure, beautiful, not super bright, not super hi-fi, but really good sound to it. I really love the sound of that bass when she played it in those early recordings and live. She slid around quite a bit. She'd slide up to high positions and slide down to them and some of this. And she always did it in a really musical way, landing on the note just right with that, here I go again, perfect articulation, textbook playing that she has. Her technique is exceptional. Kudos to, I believe his name is Pablo. I could have the wrong name, who taught her initially. And I think most of the time up till now has really been her teacher in bass. Hats off, sir. You are a brilliant bassist yourself. I have a lot of respect for you, and I actually have, before I even knew who The Warning was, but immense respect for your teaching skills. That's a different talent and skill entirely than playing well. And clearly you did a legendary job. But the rest of this goes to Ali herself for being as gifted as she is and as dedicated to learning her craft from a very young age and mastering it. So then she went to the Spectre, right? She got full-size basses and Spectres, and she went through like a real grungy sound for like the second album, right? And a lot of overdrive and just brightness and just in your face, and I love it. I love that tone too. In fact, that's the tone I try to get, generally speaking. And then she got the Inferno, Ali's Inferno. I mean, that's not the name of the bass, but it's what everyone refers to it as. That's the name of the finish on the bass. But anyway, the Alejandra Villarreal custom model 5-string one-off from Spectre, and it is, I would imagine, and certainly listening to it and looking at it and understanding I've studied it online and stuff, I would say it's probably one of the greatest basses that's been made. I mean, there are a lot of greatest basses. It's tied with a whole bunch of fantastic instruments used by professionals. It would be my choice if I had to play a 5-string. I play 6, as you know. But if I had to play 5-string for a living, I would want that bass. Literally. It's got all the features that I love. Even the pickups and Eltronics, I would totally choose that. I might prefer an Alembic preamp, but either way, fantastic stuff. I can't figure out what to do with the mic, but I'm trying to hold it closer. I hope that helps. So when she got the Inferno, her tone, oddly enough, reminds me a lot more of back in the first album when she played the Mustang bass than when she moved to Spectre in the middle and was playing with a much more aggressive, grungy rock tone, right? It's not like any of her basses can't get these same tones. But I think it may have been simply like she got this ridiculously amazing bass that's literally built for her, to her specs, in partnership with Spectre, by Spectre America. And so she has her dream instrument. I mean, how many of us get to say that, right? Nearly nobody gets to say that. She has her dream instrument, and it is a fantastic instrument, and most bassists in the world should be bloody jealous of that instrument. And it doesn't make her a better player. It doesn't give her a better tone. But as a player with such a fine instrument, it may guide you into making different choices in your tone, because you can appreciate the instrument you have so much you don't need to mask it with overdrive. You may choose different sounds with it. And it's one of those amazing instruments that's got frets and can sound grungy and frettedy as she chooses to in some songs. But if she turns off that and plays with the EQ, and she clearly knows her instrument's EQ system very well, she can give it a really fretlessy kind of sound. You don't hear those frets as she's sliding around. You don't hear them at all. It sounds like a fretless frequently, but perfectly executed is part of it. She never misfrets. Like, never. I mean, she has a few times in her life, but like, this is like ridiculous. I've listened to so many hundreds of hours of Alejandra playing bass, and it's as accurate as the top people I've heard playing, doing professional session work, who steal session work from me because they're so accurate. It's fantastic playing. So with that, let's get back on topic. That was like a 10-minute meander, but I wanted to point that out about the bass tones. It's interesting that she's gone back to the sort of tone that I loved on the first album, and yet she's using a bass which is more akin to the bass that she used on Queen of the Murder Scene. Basses that's used on Queen of the Murder Scene, and did a lot of their live shows with, for Odidi and some of that. Lunario. I think all those were with the same 4-string Spectres, right? So I'm pretty sure she was using 4-string at 4DD. Hope I'm right there. But I know she was a Lunario. So listen to her sliding around on these octave slides. It's hard to hit a note. It's honestly harder to slide to a note and nail it than it is to jump up to a note if you're playing a fretted instrument, or even if you're playing a fretless instrument, because you can see exactly where you're going to put your finger anyway, because you've got markings on the sides. You know what you're doing. And if you're a good professional player, then you're going to hit it perfectly most of the time. All the time if you're Alejandra. Almost all the time. I'll give her the benefit of the doubt here. But she's sliding for musical effect, not because she needs to. She's sliding for musical effect, and it's fascinating. Let's listen.
Al fin te das cuenta en secreto que el dolor se quedará. Será tu nueva vida de martirio. Ya no hay vuelta atrás, no puedes escapar del fuego a tus pies. Y en la oscuridad.
She went down to that note perfectly without slide. Millisecond gap as she silenced the string instead and did a pro shift change. But these slides are gorgeous. I'm also listening on Sennheiser Pro HD 280 headphones, which are a studio staple. They've got a ton of low-end bass, but not too much. They're quite bright. They're kind of for anyone who's a studio engineer, they're the Yamaha NS7s of headphones, except with more bass, or lower bass. So I can hear the bass really, really well here, and it sounds great. Even there. She slides from the very low note to the minor third. That time she did. But she did finger it. That's crazy. Did you see what she did? Instead of boom, she went dun, dun, really quietly on the little run. She did a little run up to that. That was cool. That's awesome. Just play right to the camera. Pow.
A veces las cosas obvias son las más difíciles de ver. En tu martirio,
was singing deep and slower octave too.
Es tu destino, entrégate. Aprende de los que sufrieron. Si hay que vivir en miedo, es mejor morir en manos de un adiós. Tu vida triste, partir tonto y adiós. ¡Ya en México!
Is that Pal?
Partir tonto y adiós. ¡Ya en México!
Go Ally. Ally and Pal. Oh, Danny. She makes that sound easy. I love that. The guitar solo and she went. That was cool. That was a cool look on the guitar. Look at Pal. Yeah. That just kills me to see Pal like so emotionally shocked by the whole thing. You can tell she's just like, she's in it. Wow. Well, thank you so much, everyone. I think this was an incredible performance. Boy, I say that a lot, but it really is just consistently true. This was really exciting. It's weird that a song that's not even in the language I speak or understand can affect me so much. I don't think I'm the only one. This band has the ability to do that, and not only as a Spanish song for me, but as English songs for people who don't speak English. I mean, there are fans all over the world of The Warning who don't speak much, if any, English, in all kinds of countries in Asia and stuff. And, you know, you read the translation, you get what they're trying to say. I think sometimes that almost moves you more because you really have to focus on understanding the meaning of the song. And then you connect that with the emotional song, and damn, this is a powerful song. And kudos to David Bendeth for working with them on this song so much, because I know that they had an earlier version, which was also really cool, by the way. I've heard that on a cell phone video. But I presume it was with him that they reworked it and made it sort of like a V2, version 2 of the song. And that's the one that's become famous and went on the album that we're hearing here. It works so well for conveying the emotion. And I just love this tune so much. Thanks very much, everyone. Please like and subscribe, and let's continue this party together, eh? Okay. Thanks very much. Have a good night.